Turkey's going full feminist.
Okay.
What?
Former Australian citizen and ISIS bride Zara Daman free in Turkey despite 7-year prison sentence. Would you like to guess why they let her free from prison?
Because she's a
Why not?
woman.
There was no one else available to care for her. 2 children.
Hey. Women have no privilege over men. Men have all the privilege, guys.
Oh yeah, she's got all the privilege
what?
despite the fact that she was married 3 times to ISIS terrorists and all 3 of them were killed for being
And she's
ISIS
still alive.
terrorists. Yeah. And despite the fact that she's got a 7-year prison sentence, she's been let free because she needs to look after her kids. Solomon Guthrie says she left her kids for ISIS. No. This stupid bitch had kids with ISIS members. She was 19 when she left. It was a different dumb bitch that left her kids for ISIS.
You know what's weird? I'm actually being sort of white-pilled by this. It shows how Western governments are. Where it's like, at least this decision, there's a lot of fucked up shit in there, but at least it kind of recognizes a mother's responsibility to care for her own children. I'm probably more pro-life than most of the people here, but it is kind of this weird thing where it's like the left so vociferously argues for universal healthcare and welfare and shit, but then is like, oh, it's your responsibility to take care of these strangers. But then it's like, if a woman conceives a child she doesn't want, then it's like, yeah, just kill your own child so you can get out of it. It's so fucking perverse how it's like, oh, you have more responsibility to a random person than a mother has to her own child in the eyes of the state or in the eyes of progressives. It's so weird to me.
Sounds of America here. Was that seagulls or police sirens?
Yeah, but I don't think it's coming from me.
Oh. Because I heard...
As
Definitely
student of
not.
history points out second, yes, but also is an ISIS terror bride actually the person you want raising children? I'm going to go with no.
Exactly. No, she isn't, which is, I'm not saying the decision is good. I'm just noting that they still obviously respect the importance of mothers raising their own kids.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Mothers raising their own
decision
kids is usually a moral good.
Right.
Unless of course
Whereas
they happen to
the
be an
decision
Islamic
is
terrorist.
still, fucked, but it's in comparison to the UK, I don't know, releasing fucking rapists or whatever and shit. And then also having that progressive mindset of it's everyone else's responsibility to take care of your kids. I'm just kind of pointing out that difference there. It's obviously still fucked.
Yeah. And one of the just annoying things about this whole situation is the ABC being a leftist shithole like the BBC that should get the same fucking treatment, which is defunded. Australian women still at risk is the conclusion the ABC has released. Because the convicted terrorists aren't allowed to come back to Australia, and that's a bad thing because social justice?
So they became a terrorist, and then the people they joined up with want to rape them.
Yep, and then they have kids, and they're married 3 times, and all their husbands get killed. But they voluntarily went to join ISIS, a terrorist organisation, but they should get to come back to Australia.
You see,
Okay.
it's kind of one of those things where I would have more sympathy, actually, if it was somebody who grew up in culture. Right, where it's take a woman, she marries some jihadi ISIS guy, and she grows up with, oh, this is fucked, I need to get my kids away from this. And then, she wants to, seek asylum. That is a more sympathetic case than somebody who
that's
grew up
actually
in a
entirely
Western country
sympathetic.
ISIS, and
Because
wants to
then
come
you're
back.
fleeing persecution.
Exactly, but I mean, it's kind of the point where it's there's a difference between someone who grows up in it and then is I'm in danger and gets red pilled on how fucked it is and wants to get away, as opposed to someone who joins it and then it's fucked and then they want to return.
That's it. The person who's raised into it is a victim. The person who joins it willingly is a co-conspirator.
Yeah.
And yet, the ABC is whining that there are at least 63 Australian women and children trapped in dangerous conditions in detention camps in Syria's northeast. Don't fucking care.
I agree with
You
Student
went
Victory.
to Israel.
Take the kids, leave the wench simple as.
Yeah, sounds
the
good.
Woodkeeper. Go.
No, terrorists get the nuke too.
Well, works for me.
Well, and it's kind of this thing where it's like, from a Christian perspective, like, I believe in the redeemability of, right? And so it's like, if there was like a 100% guarantee this woman would return, be like a normal fucking human being, like, I'd want that for her, but that's not a 100% guarantee. And when you deal with bringing someone back into the country and letting them loose free, it's like, it's not just a question of love for that person specifically. It's also a love for all the people who are already in the country. What risk are you willing to expose them to? And then the question of guilt and innocence comes in.
Yeah. And even if these people do come back to Australia, like, what's the value in having them in our prisons? Because this bitch should spend the rest of her life in prison for treason.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Solomon Guthrie mentions like the.
Well, sorry, second,
Imagine
you've cut out again.
imagine-
We've lost you.
Imagine the
Well,
monster
Solomon Guthrie
race.
mentions like the kids in the Palestine TV show. Wasn't that shit aired in Britain too?
Really?
Yeah.
God, why?
Oh dear.
It's like, if you're gonna be in a country that is against free speech, at least shut down the terrorism, right? Like, if you're already against free speech, don't allow like terrorism networks. Like,
Yeah, if you don't care about free speech and rights and shit, why not at least eliminate the terrorists?
yeah, like, what the fuck?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I think things are going to get much more interesting in Israel in the short term.
So I think so too.
I'm pro-Israel, so yes, I hope so.
I really
Well,
don't give a shit at this point.
Well, you know, there's this sort of coalition. This coalition that's looking to push out Netanyahu. Do you think
Oh,
they're
crap.
left or do you think they're more right wing or more left wing than Netanyahu?
They've got to be left-wing of him.
No.
Oh, they're not. Ooh, so things will get the good kind of interesting.
Well,
Holy shit.
it's a big coalition of people, but there's some very strong, there's some very strong right wing part of it, and they a big chunk of the people were condemning Netanyahu for not being strong enough, not for going in hard.
Yeah.
So I guess the answer to the Netanyahu question, you get rid of him. Fuck. If you get rid of him, who do you think is going to fill the power vacuum is the question.
Someone even more based.
This can get
The
really
thing is, actually,
interesting.
he's really, like, you say what you like about it, but the Israelis have gone to huge lengths not to kill civilians. I mean, they've killed loads of civilians, but I mean, I
They haven't done it on purpose.
Yeah, but I did a video I did a little video showing just how insanely easy it would be for Israel just to wipe Palestine off the fucking
Yeah, we
face
saw
of the earth.
we saw that God comment.
Yeah, and it was just, it's insanely easy for them to do it, and to say that they're being anything but restrained is stupid. Because obviously, if they just wanted to kill them, they'd do it. Just could do it.
Yeah, absolutely. They remember
would
why
anybody
that's
do
a
about it?
bad thing, though. Yeah, no one could stop him.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the left fetishizes weakness. So because Palestine is like weaker military speaking and they're browner, then the left sympathies all go towards them. And I'm not necessarily saying that everything Israel done has been on the up and up there. I mean, I'm sure there's some shit where they've like gone overboard or gone too far, but it's kind of this thing where it's like they're judging entirely the basis of who has what power and who has what skin color, and it's kind of like, The fact that if it was like the other way around, that Palestine would have just erased them from the map right now, I think that's worth like mentioning, obviously.
Like, isn't it like literally the second thing in their fucking in their manifesto to murderize Israel off the face of the earth?
Okay, exactly, gang. And the idea that Israel or inferiors in this is just absolutely asinine, folks. And I'll tell you more about that in just 1 second. But first, you need Policy Genius to help you find a better life insurance. Type policygenius.com/Ben for 20% off. Okay, gang? My wife's a doctor, so life insurance is important.
Ever, and I repeat, if we ever get a single offer to be a commercial for something that isn't a fucking scam or bullshit like that,
Well,
we'll have you read it up.
Someone in chat much earlier jokingly said, "Oh, the Sultans of Shadilay are sponsored by Russia." I'm like, bitch, if Russia offered me cash, I'd take it in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've literally taken Russian money before, so what.
Rather Russian than Chinese.
I'm quite happy to take Russian state money, no problem.
Same.
It's good money. It's
the Sultans of Shadilay, sponsored by the Russian government.
Well, here's the thing: like, as long
I've
as
taken Russian money, I've taken Kazakhstani money, I've taken Singaporean money, I've taken Dutch
what
money,
about
I've taken American
money,
money, I've taken Canadian money, I've taken French money, I've taken Monegasque money, I've taken Norwegian money. I will take anybody's fucking money. I don't care.
You'll take anybody's money, and doing work for it is optional.
I mean, especially if it's just
not so much optional as it is unpreferred.
Well, I mean, I would say like the moral question is: are you doing what you would do otherwise? And if so, if someone wants to like give you money for doing what you would do anyways, like what's the problem with that? And
I guess the moral question is that I'll do the oil stuff for anyone. The military stuff, I'm a bit more picky about, I guess.
That is
I
reasonable.
mean, you would do it anyway, so obviously you're not going to do your shit in a way you consider unethical, right? But it's kind of like the left like gets on that with Planned Parenthood. They're like all these politicians, or not Planned Parenthood, the NRA. All these politicians are bought by the NRA, according to the left, but it's like more likely that these guys like already fucking agree with the NRA, so the NRA is giving them money. It's not like their views have been compromised. It's that they already agree, and so the people who agree with them are giving them money. It's not like they're corrupt or anything. And the thing is, the left is aware of that concept because Planned Parenthood and the abortion lobby is as big of a lobby in politics money-wise as the NRA, as the pro-Second Amendment lobby. Yet the left never casts that accusation that Democrat, like, fucking politicians are bought by Planned Parenthood because it's obvious they agree with Planned Parenthood and that Planned Parenthood is giving them money because they agree with them, as opposed to, like, giving them money to change their position on something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't worry too much about the morality of my work. I work on the basis that somebody much higher paid than me decides whether it's moral to use it or not.
Yeah.
Man, this is a really good chat. Gotta admit. It's only got quiet though.
Yeah, I make what they want to make. Well, try to make what they want to make.
This is how you should do. Business is business.
I mean, like, I've worked on all sorts of weird shit over the years. I mean, like, some of the... You realize as well, like, in military development, and the vast majority of stuff that gets designed never, or, even prototypes, never, ever gets into use. I mean, even stuff that works. Is, weapons are produced that are kept secret and kept because they don't want people to know that they have them. They're kept so long that they become, obsolete, and then they're just destroyed. They're never used. There's tons of stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, how much of modern warfare now is honestly?
And we've lost everything you just said, second. Sorry, man.
Well, how much of like modern warfare is just kind of political theater at this point?
Well, all of it.
Every single thing.
I mean, all the weapons that you think are the things that you should be worried about are not the things that you should be worried about.
Exactly. What we should be worried about is the weather altering devices that are going to fuck up the weather and cause droughts in Texas that are going to kill a lot of American citizens. You think the government doesn't have those things? They have those things.
If you realistically think that you could hit a first world country with an ICBM, you're just fucking ridiculous. The ICBM's a 1950s piece of technology. Just no.
Well, for
No,
those of you who live in first world countries, that must be a nice thing to think about.
Yeah. Oh fuck.
I mean, think about some of the technology that exists, right? You think about the Israeli Iron Dome, right? That's the thing to shoot down. That's the thing to shoot down small, unguided rockets that are, a meter, sort of a meter long and sort of 4 or 6 inches in, diameter. Like an ICBM's like 4 to 6, like 4 meters across. And
yeah, like hell, America doesn't have shit designed to wipe that out.
30 meters. I mean, like, as if you could get one anywhere near anywhere that, that is for, America or France or Britain or Germany or something like that. I mean, fuck off. That'd be so ridiculous. I mean, of course you can't. I mean, the Germans have a fucking laser tank. You know this? I mean, it's not hidden. You can look it up. Yeah, but they've got a fucking tank with a laser that I've seen test fires for, where they were shooting 60mm stainless steel balls out of the sky at a 2-kilometer range. I mean,
so what you're saying
just evaporating them out of the air, just like
what you're saying is that the left is largely impervious to attack from like weaker countries.
The left or the West?
The West.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if that's what you're saying, it's like I kind of have to wonder how much of the playing up of external threats and in the political atmosphere, where it's like, oh, if we do the wrong thing, this country will like nuke us and fuck us over. I have to wonder how much of that is like played up by the left as an excuse for their own policy positions at that point.
Yeah, but you have to think of the countries that are nukeable. So America, bits of America probably nukeable because just pure landmass purposes. It's hard to cover the whole thing. UK can't really be hit by anything anywhere because it's so fucking dense. There's not a square inch of the UK that isn't covered by anti-aircraft weapons and things like that. There is none of it. Britain learned its lesson in the Second World War. So, but like China, I mean, China's not bits of China is first world. The vast majority of China is third world. The upshot of a war with China is you can hit any bit of China and kill a Chinese person. It wouldn't be hard. No, it's true, right? Population density, landmass. You've got to think about these things.
Yeah.
Whereas the UK is a much like how would anybody attack the really? How would anybody attack the UK?
Across the English Channel from France with submarines. Wait, no, that was tried and didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Or with chimpanzees infected with a virus that make you lose all sense of self-control and just succumb to a violent rage for about a month or two.
But people, 28 days later, people are people in this country think that they're a huge threat. Also, you have to be really motivated to attack Britain. There's a lot easier places to go, better, bigger rewards. It's like, why would you? It's a hard place to get to.
Well, actually, Solomon Guthries brings up a very good point that ties into something that actually happened recently. He says Satellite wars are coming. It's all about communication and tech now. The first strike will take out a ton of American satellites. The second attack will be deny us live service on a never-before-seen scale. Possibly, and especially considering that apparently 75% of the fucking internet is on Amazon servers, won't be fucking difficult.
But do you think the rest of the world couldn't simply cut off China's communications to the rest of the world? If it wanted
Well, I'm
to?
sure they could. If all the Chinese weren't
Like-
already in Australia.
Like, that's kind of the thing. Like, the left are so internationalist, but like the one area where they need to be internationalist, they're like, oh, let's keep cucking to China.
No, but I mean, like, China's economy is entirely export driven, right? So you can crush them basically just by stop buying. I mean, you could just stop buying their stuff. That's it.
Well,
That's all
it's
that's-
still-
Yeah, what we need is an outspoken leader who refuses to cut to China and demands onshore production. Fuck, we tried that
guess.
and the left has swinged about it.
Well, and
Let me
the
guess.
thing is,
He's
though,
supposed to
the
have
left-
a yellow toupee, orange Cheeto powder in his face. Small hands,
basically.
And he
Well, the
likes
thing
to
is,
say the word
we
huge.
know the left could get away with this too, because they could just stop trading with China and then like print a bunch of money and give it to people to create the illusion that it hasn't created a problem. Like, it would obviously create an economic problem, but they've proven they're capable of creating the illusion that it doesn't if they just print a bunch more money. So they're capable enough of like deceiving people into thinking that no hit has been taken from not trading with China if they like throw in the money printing and the media propaganda.
Well,
The left is fully capable of like doing that, but they don't. Like, they could use
not
their
only
evil powers for good, and they don't.
yeah, not only that, but they also have the perfect ideologically consistent reason to do so. If they remove the Chinese dick from their mouth, they'll be able to see that brown people are being abused and genocide against in China, and that sounds like an excellent reason to stop trading with China. All they need to do is remove the tiny Chinese dick from their mouths.
Yeah, like, if we could get the left on board, it would be so easy to be like, fuck China.
That's actually going to be one of the points I will ask the people doing the whole. We have an election in Norway soon, so when they start doing these, they don't do like massive rallies and shit, but they have people in the local memberships of each party stand around to, tell people why you should vote us and blah blah blah. I'm actually going to ask every party with what is your intention with China?
Dude, if you can get away with it, see if you can video it. We'll put it up.
I can try that.
We'll pimp that out to the later seeders and see if we can't get that going.
I'll ask nicely.
Yeah. Well, theoretically, they should be fine with it.
They should, but I don't want to be too much of a disrespectful cunt.
Oh yeah, don't be
Norwegian
disrespectful about it, but
Yeah,
I can't imagine
politics
that
is a
they'd
lot
have
more-
an issue if you were like, hey, I'd like to film this while I ask you these questions. Is that okay? I can't imagine they'd have too much of an issue with that, and if they do, who cares? Move on.
The people standing there are just pretty much the average day people. As one thing I'm really proud of my country is how undramatic our politics are. Of course, we have our fair share of idiocy and stupidity, like we have our own director of tadpole collecting. That happened today. Yeah, stupid as fuck, but hey, at least it's no fucking drama. So, small blessing, I guess.
Oh yeah,
So, but I can do
Robert Longshore has a point. Tell them you're a citizen journalist.
That'd be cool.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've actually
I could try that out.
I've actually been thinking about doing something like that myself, because you remember that story I told you about the youngest drag queen. I've actually been thinking of going out and interviewing local politicians, going, is any of my money going towards this child abuse?
Still have nightmares about that, by the way.
Good.
Actual fucking
So
nightmares.
do I. But
I
it's
hate
just
having a liver
fucking
down
filth.
there.
It's just
disgusting.
filth. Get away from the children, you fucking freaks.
I won't fucking try either.